Episode 135, maybe.
No.
Woo!
134.
It is 134. Dang it, Zach. That's what I thought it was. And then you called me.
Gotcha, Kyle.
Man, what the heck, dude? I thought for sure. Well, whatever. It's episode 134. We are wrapping up animated movie month.
Woo! Let's go.
Just get some. Here we go. Jamie, you look like you got something you want to say.
Yeah, originally I used to make the joke about this should be episode blank, but what is the element number for iron? I can't think of that off the top of my head. Yeah, what is FE, but what number?
48.
I know.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, this is a
Shout out to all of our viewers, though, on Twitch.
26.
If you want to interact with us live during our podcast episodes, just find us on Twitch, you dum-dums, and you can chat with us, and we'll see it. We'll read it.
Yeah. We'll read it out loud. We got somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're putting in the chat right there. Is that an orangutan or something? I don't know what that is.
Harambe, dude.
Well, all right. We got Harambe in the chat. Welcome to the chat, Harambe. Here we go.
Happy St. Patty's Day to everybody.
Oh, that's right.
I got my favorite Boston Celtics t-shirt on to celebrate the occasion.
I wore my Shamrock suit to work, which was a good hit. And then I watched the classic Charlie Finds a Leprechaun episode to celebrate.
There you go.
Not at work, at home. So
you're sitting in the office watching It's Always Sunny.
I thought it was Sunday. I thought St. Patty's Day was on Sunday. So I was in Columbus with some friends, and I rolled out of bed on Sunday morning and put on all my green stuff. And I had Shamrock glasses that I wore and everything. And I just cruised into the room, and nobody said anything. And I was like,
wow, look at this.
Like, oh, wow, very festive. I'm like, yeah. And then Wednesday, I found out that it was St. Patty's Day. I was like, wait, today's St. Patty's Day? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay.
Nobody's got anything on
That's the kind of thing you got to just like play into, right? Like that guy's going to look like an idiot all day. Like we're going to allow it. So
it's like Dwight thinking it was Friday.
Yeah.
Let's just keep letting Ben think it's St. Patty's Day.
Dude, so we got St. Patty's Day, we got Stimmy Day, we got March Madness Day. Everything is happening this week.
Yeah, very eventful.
NFL
week.
free agency, it's going crazy.
Patriots dropping money, dude.
Oh, yeah. Dropping
money.
Bang.
How do you feel about that, Jamie?
Love it. Love it. Spend. Spend big. I don't care. I want all the tight ends. I don't want just two. I want 3, 4, 5 tight ends.
Opinions on animation month as we close it here. Did you guys enjoy this?
Terrible.
I did. I love animation. Animation's one of my favorite genres. Has anyone seen a good animation this year? There's a few that have been nominated for the Oscar. They just announced that.
Oh, you're talking like a 2020 animated movie?
Yeah. Something, one of the big ones.
I would assume Soul is one of the nominees.
Soul is one of the nominees. You see that one?
I want it to lose. I don't like that movie. I thought it had potential. The ending ruined it. So not good.
I didn't see it, so don't spoiler alert. I don't want to know the ending.
What else got the nominee?
Wolfwalkers. That was one of them. So
Wolfwalkers?
It's like an Irish tale. It's very cute. I think Croods. I believe Croods was one of the nominees.
Ooh, a little Nick Cage action?
I think so. I believe that's correct. I'm not remembering the other ones.
Huh. I haven't seen many animated movies in quite a long time, but I know that I'm going to have a stretch where that's all it's going to be for a really long time as my kid gets older. You had mentioned Croods, which Nick Cage is in, and at the beginning of the week, Zach messaged me, he said, hey, Kyle, guess what? This week's the week that The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent comes out, and I was having like some issues with my dog, and I was like, oh, I'm having a bad week, and then he told me that, and I was like, you just made my whole week? And then today, I'm trying to find out where I can watch it, and then it's been suspended indefinitely. I was like,
I can't believe it.
My God.
Literally the day before it was supposed to get released. Like, oh my God.
That's another good topic of conversation. Is there any movie that you've just been waiting and just keeps getting postponed and postponed? For
Maverick.
me, it would be Dune.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dune.
No,
Dune's the
Dune.
big one, I think.
Dune's going to be phenomenal. Maverick, Top Gun 2, I want to see.
Oh, I thought you meant
I
Maverick
do-
starring Mel Gibson. I was like, that what came out ages ago.
Dude,
I
that's a
do
good
wanna
poker movie.
see, No Time to Die with submarine Daniel Craig action. I have not seen any of the Daniel Craig Bond movies, but
And then the Fast and
Whoa.
Furious. I don't believe the submarine probably in this newest Fast and Furious. They probably
All I know
used up
is
all their submarine stuff.
John Wick 4, Matrix 4 both got bumped.
I know.
We're no longer getting the epic Keanu Reeves weekend that we were promised
Dude,
last year.
it was a day. Keanu Reeves day. They were both going to go.
Both movies are going. I can't
Now-
believe it.
Now
And they're not doing it now.
Did you finish John Wick 3? Because you were texting me about.
We haven't finished 3 yet. I
Oh,
still need to
man.
watch 3. I mean, it's going to be this weekend. I'm watching it this weekend.
I am so glad
'Cause
you're
2
watching
was off
those
the hook.
movies. They're so good.
2 was so good. It was just 1 was good. 2 was great. I'll say that. 3, we'll see.
Dude,
TBA.
it gets intense. Anyways, what are we doing here, guys?
Real quick. We're
like
talking
we
movies.
are-
We're talking movies real
We are
fast.
talking movies,
I gotta
yeah.
cut in. I
Cut
gotta
in.
cut in.
Cut in.
March 29th, I think. Godzilla versus Kong.
I am
Godzilla versus Kong.
very excited for that one. I plan on
Maybe a
watching.
sub.
I
Maybe
plan
a
on
sub.
watching Kong Skull Island, Godzilla 2014, and Godzilla King of Monsters again, just to get ready for it. I am super pumped.
I was at the gym the other day and Godzilla 2014 was on, and I'm just like, that's awesome.
You got pumped. You got real swole.
I did. I just started drinking. No,
Started drinking. Just
started drinking.
I know Brahm's favorite movie is Skull Island, so he just can't get enough.
the oft recurring joke. At least you named
Well-
the right movie. Jamie always guessed that kept saying it was
Godzilla.
Godzilla. Yeah.
Which you also hate.
I did end up not liking that movie.
Blasphemy. Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Dive.
What began as an innocent conversation among friends would soon spiral out of control and later be referred to by future generations as the eighth wonder of the modern world. Mac East Studios takes you on the journey of your lifetime as your captains, the artist formerly known as Brahm, Jamie the Ointment, Kyle El Capitan, and the Gruesome Twosome present Submersion.
I think we got a spammer, FYI.
We do. I am super excited about that. If anybody wants to know, we're about to get famous because we're going to buy some followers, primes, and viewers. So on bigfollows.com. Very excited about
Nice.
Not a sponsor.
that. Not a sponsor. Dude, that reminds me of something.
What a huge victory for that spammer right now.
Yeah. Except they just plugged me. Yeah. So I can't wait for that. So I'm going to put in my 2 weeks notice, say, sorry, I've got something else planned.
Get them sweet bots.
Yeah. Dude, at work, I got the weirdest thing in my mailbox. Like all of a sudden this thing showed up and it was a fax. Somebody had put it in my mailbox. Sorry, this is totally not podcast related, but it was a letter from a lawyer. And it was like, hey, this doctor died and they have the same last name as you. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I've got a super common last name. They're like, and nobody's claimed his $90 million fortune. It's a lawyer. And he's like, so because I found this and you have the same last name, I will just take a cut and you can get most of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
So I immediately called him. and
Right. Sounds
I
legit.
am filthy rich right now. I've got a Lambo in my garage.
Whoa, it worked.
Yeah.
Give me your bank account information, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Go buy a bunch of gift cards.
Yeah. $90 million in gift cards. Like, well, what the hell?
But it's all to you get $90 million. That's like it's like monkey's paw, right? I wish for $90 million, but it's all in gift cards to like Bed Bath and Beyond or something.
That'd be it. Oh, that'd be wild.
I would just open a store that sells Bed Bath and Beyond stuff.
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Right. And I would just buy with all my gift cards, all of their stuff, and just sell it at a higher value.
There you go. Clutch. All right. Anyways, let's get into this submarine animated movie. Who wants to take it away?
I think I might, unless did anyone have anything to say about the cast and who made this?
Love it.
Oh, I mean, we gotta talk about what the heck we watched and like.
Yeah, Kyle, you typically pick somebody.
Yeah, Brom, you know what? You did animated movie month. You go ahead and you tell us what we watched, because you know what, the viewers don't know, because I didn't even update what the heck we're doing tonight. So, welcome to the podcast where we are very prepared constantly.
Very, very few people then know.
I know
that we in fact watched from 1999 WB The Iron Giant.
Woo! Ooh, Iron Giant, starring the one and only Jennifer Aniston.
Right.
Shooter McGavin. Chris McDonald is his name, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
Harry Connick Jr.
Harry Connick Jr. And without further, I mean, very early on in his career, a guy that somebody might have heard of him. Little Vin Diesel.
The D's Machine.
You're missing a big one still.
Cloris
Leachman. Christopher McDonald.
Dude, John Mahoney. Come on.
Oh, shoot. John Mahoney.
Frasier.
Yes.
Frasier's dad.
Yeah.
My bad. I screwed up. Here I thought I had like the bombshell to drop Vin Diesel, and then you're just going to drop John Mahoney. And everybody's like, well, Kyle, what an idiot. Sorry, guys.
And then, and directed by Brad Bird, who had started in more as like an animator and stuff like that. But this was his first directing.
You might know him from a few other movies. Yep. Incredibles, Inside Out, Independence Day, Saving Private Ryan, Jurassic Park, Brad Bird.
Jurassic World. But
I made those last ones up, Jamie. Jamie was like, wait, where did he get this information?
Yeah, some of these were Inside Out and stuff. He wasn't involved in that. But
yeah, he was.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh.
He was not. Inside Out's a different company. And everything.
I'm gonna look.
That's. But anyways, Iron Giant, Incredibles, Ratatouille, and then he did some live action, like he did Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, and stuff like that. But now he's got Incredibles 2. Came back to it.
Wall-E, Up, Toy Story 3. I mean, the Inside Out.
Inside Out. He did do Inside Out.
Yeah. He was an advisor for that.
Yeah, he was involved.
He didn't direct it.
Oh, okay. Big name.
I was saying directing. Guys.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Whatever. The Birdman.
That's what they call him. We call him the Birdman. Call him the D's Machine. Jennifer Aniston. We call Jennifer Aniston.
Or we call it Jan.
Without further ado. Harry Connick Jr., famous musician and actor.
We'll be talking musicians tonight, right, Jamie? You got that trivia?
No. What?
Oh, no, nothing. Keep going.
No.
We're good.
All right.
Zach's got some
Should I get into it?
Get into it, man. We've been dragging our feet here for a while.
All right. So, picture in your mind the Cold War. What's happening? Guys, what do you think of when you think Cold War?
I think of
Russian submarines.
Submarines, sure.
Sputnik.
Sputnik, perfect. So we see Sputnik coming all the way around Earth, and it's like whoop, 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 and everyone's like, oh shit, Russians beating the Americans. What are we gonna do? And anyways, during a big old storm around Maine, we see the Iron Giant come from outer space and crash into the ocean, the roiling sea, just as a ship is having difficulty, navigating the waves. But he sees this thing, and it's like, holy shit. And it's got this kind of cool Maine accent. If you guys know the Maine accent, it sounds real kooky. This is the only person in the movie that even attempted
the Maine accent.
What's that?
I can do the Maine accent.
What is it? Do it.
Like, oh, golly gee up there. Look at that giant.
It's actually not crazy bad. There's been some really bad ones in movies. So, a lot of Stephen King movies are set in Maine, and some people in those have insane accents, terrible accents. Anyways, this guy attempts it. It's fine. But his boat crashes into the Iron Giant, who's standing in the sea looking down at him. He basically thinks it's like a lighthouse. He's like, holy shit. And he gets thrown into the ocean. And you're like, oh, well, clearly the first death of the movie, which is a theme in this film, a children's film. But no, he wakes up on the rocks in front of the actual lighthouse, clearly having been saved by the Iron Giant. The first hint that, in fact, not a bad guy. Anyways, it's true. It's the truth. Anyways, we are then introduced to our main character, Hogarth Hughes, who is jetting about town. He's pretty excited. He's going to see his mamio at the diner where she's working. He's like, I got a pet for us, and it's a squirrel. And he's like, let me show you it. He looks over, and the squirrel's got out, and it wreaks havoc all over the diner. And basically the mom's like, all right, get out of here and get out of my hair. We also meet at that point Dean, who's like a beatnik artist, who's, pretty cool and really clearly going to be into Hogarth's mom pretty soon.
What do you guys think about that name, Hogarth? You ever met anybody named Hogarth?
No, I have heard it though before.
Have you? Man.
Yeah, I wonder what the etymology is.
I was going to say origins, but I don't have that vernacular that you do.
It's true. He's got a big old brain.
Kyle.
Yeah.
What? If you have another kid,
Hogarth.
they have to be named Hogarth.
Done.
There's a English painter named William Hogarth.
It's the last name, though.
Oh, it's Anglo-Saxon. It's British name.
It makes sense.
Anywho, Hogarth goes home. He gets a call from his mom. Mom's like, working late, be like good and don't eat super unhealthy. He's like, got it. And then he's like snacking all over the place, watching bad movies, all this stuff. And all of a sudden, TV starts going out. And he's like, bullshit. So he heads up onto the roof like a crazy person. And he looks, and the antenna's totally gone. And he sees, what does he see? Like in the distance, something going on or whatever. And he decides he's going to go out and like search around in the woods.
Dude,
he goes out there
armed to the teeth, man. You can tell.
Oh yeah,
that,
he's
like,
got a BB gun.
This is like the height of just like some Cold War paranoia. Like he's reading the comic books, he's reading the magazines and stuff. He's got a helmet, he's got his little BB gun ready to just whip some ass.
Yeah. So he goes out there, he goes to the electrical station, he finds the Iron Giant, and we see kind of him for the first time in all its glory. And he's like destroying the electrical station, eating all the metal. Like he's got to eat, so he's eating the metal there. And he starts to electrocute himself.
I need to cut in. I need to cut in. Now you said it's an electrical station, Jamie?
Something like that, right?
Could it be called a
power plant?
Substation?
It is, yeah. I was gonna say,
substation. Look at that. I like the sunglass move you did there.
Should I do it again?
Yeah, do it again.
I'm not.
Should we have a whole substation cycle?
Is that even common terminology for people that don't play Escape from Tarkov?
A substation?
Yeah.
Electrical substation?
I would think
electrical substation.
I think that's fine.
I feel like I never heard that term until I played Tarkov.
Well, I had heard the term. I don't play Tarkov. And so anyways, he sees the Iron Giant fall into some wires, gets all electrocuted and shit. And Hogarth is like, oh no, like I don't want this monster to die. And he goes and turns off the power station. And then the giant kind of falls and basically seems like it's like falling asleep or whatever, like doesn't work anymore.
You think it would just fall asleep? I guess it depends on your perception of things. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So anyways, Hogarth goes and he's like, gets picked up by his mom and taken back home. And then the next day he decides, I am going to get this thing on get a picture of it. So he takes a camera out there with like a little piece of metal. And he's like, okay, here's some metal. You like it. You want to eat it. And he waits and waits and waits, trying to get a picture of it. Eventually the giant shows up. And he soon realizes that the giant actually is not like a bad giant, kind of. It's like, he basically got like a bump in his head and can't remember anything. And he's like a good guy. And it's basically like good, not gun or whatever. Like he says, Vin Diesel.
This is Vin Diesel, maybe in his prime. Might be the best acting we've had out of him ever. I'll give you an example here. Gun. Bad. I am not a gun.
It's true.
I gotta jump in here. Can I cut in? I almost did a countdown of Kyle sound clips tonight for my countdown, because when I was watching this, I'm like, dude, anybody could be a voice actor. I mean, Kyle could be a voice actor, and I'm like, I should get sound clips of Kyle. I'm like, it was too much work. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
That would be a lot of work.
I will do it though. It will happen.
Well, I'm excited for that day. I guess I'm a little self-absorbed.
Still 200.
Yeah. So anyways, they become bestie friends pretty quickly. Like they kind of walk around a bunch and they look at different spots. I can't even remember, but on the way back to his house, he's telling him to like not follow him or whatever. And he comes up and starts eating like the railroad tracks. And Hogarth's like, "You're gonna destroy the train. Like you can't do that." And so he tells him to like fix it. But before he can fix it, the train comes and smashes into the Iron Giant. And basically,
he fixes it
like,
though.
Oh boy.
Doesn't he fix it just like at the last second? And this was kind of interesting.
Robot.
This was kind of interesting for the movie because the robot just gets launched by this train,
right?
And other things happen later. It's like, okay, well, maybe you shouldn't have been launched by that train. But
yeah, maybe the train should have been destroyed, just blown up.
Yeah, but yeah. And like Humpty Dumpty, man, this guy, he's just broken into a million pieces.
Right. And so Hogarth takes him into his barn and basically is like, "Oh boy, you're pretty much destroyed, my poor robot." But, a thing comes out of the Iron Giant's head and all his pieces come back together and like self-assemble again. And he goes inside and basically, is kind of trying to play cool with his mom, and they're having dinner or whatever. And like the Iron Giant's like hand comes in, it's like walking all over the place. And he's like, shit. And so it goes through this whole like kind of comedy of errors, trying to get this hand out of the house. At the same time, there's this kind of dopey government man who has shown up to investigate the possible appearance of this robot. And he doesn't really believe anything that's going on, but he's starting to get suspicious about something because his car has been eaten by the Iron Giant. And so
that's my favorite scene. That's my favorite scene, though, when the hand's in the house and he's trying to shoo it away at dinner time, and he's sitting there at dinner and he's supposed to say grace. And he looks over his mom's shoulder and he goes, "Oh, my God." And he sees the hand is in the kitchen doing something or the other. And he's like, "Oh, my God, thank you for this food." And he's like, he's brushing off all these things he says and like getting into the prayer. And he's like, "Stop, Satan." And he's like, no, he does stop the devil from taking over and ruining our lives or whatnot. And then he's like, "Get out." And then I was like, "Satan?" And he's like, "Satan." And I'm like, oh, I predicted it. I just loved it. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah. There were some really good scenes in this movie.
Yeah. And so he almost gets him to the door, the hand. When he opens it up, there's the government man who has come to use the phone to alert his superiors about the fact that he does actually believe that there's some robot around or whatever. And he starts to get pretty suspicious of the kid because he's acting all crazy and there's all these noises in the house because he's getting the hand out of the upstairs window and basically getting it out of there. And so he's already starting to get, pretty suspicious. And so they shoo him, the government, out of there and basically says like, "Oh yeah, my name is Hogarth Hughes." And he realizes, the government, that what's his name? Actually, I shouldn't just call him that.
Mansley.
Kent or something.
Kent Mansley.
Yeah. Mansley. So Mansley,
he's voiced by Christopher McDonald.
So Mansley, he realizes. Oh,
he even does the "Oh my God" from
yeah, exactly.
Billy Madison.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Or Happy Gilmore.
That's true.
Oh my God.
And no, he realizes that the BB gun that they found at the scene belonged to this kid.
And this was so funny because like he's just sitting there like talking to himself on the drive back. He's like, "Hogarth, what a weird name, Hogarth Hughes." And he looks down at the BB gun, which has been like bit in half. And it just says the first three letters of his first name and the first three letters of his last name. He's like, hug. He just whips it around.
And so, yeah, to quickly kind of clear up the situation, Hogarth takes the Iron Giant and takes him, kind of tries to get him find a place to hide. And they go and they see like the town and different things, but then they eventually settle. They find like a car, and he's pretty hungry, and they find a car and they see that it's being taken to the junkyard or whatever, and they're like, oh, that's like a place. That's a place we can hide or whatever. So they go to the junkyard, and he starts eating there, and Hogarth, strikes up a conversation with Dean, the artist, who owns the scrapyard and kind of uses it for his art. And eventually it becomes clear that the robot's there from noises and stuff like that. And he kind of explains to Dean, just for the night, can you please stay here, with the situation going on? And Dean's like, fucking fine. I don't know, whatever.
Well, there was another funny scene here where right before that they went to the junkyard. Do you remember this? When they're going looking for food for him, and there's that car that's going to get towed. And they're like,
right.
He's like, oh, it's been here for like 2 weeks. Like, you can eat this thing. And then the tow truck with Dean rolls up, and then he has to hide, and he like hides in front of this billboard for like a burger restaurant. And it looks like he's holding up a burger in the world or something, just stupid thing like that. But it just works. It's something, I don't know. It cracked me up.
Visually pleasing to Kyle.
It was.
Yes. And so then in the next morning, though, Hogarth is shocked and appalled to find that Mansley has taken the room in the house which they've been trying to rent, and now will be there keeping his eye on them. And I like this scene, too, where they cut through a bunch of times of him kind of being like, what you up to, what you up to, what you up to, following him around and basically making it so that he can't go and help Dean, who is having a lot of trouble with this giant in his scrapyard, although he's starting to appreciate him a little bit because he's an artiste, a natural artiste. There we go. And so he is able to lose Mansley by crumbling up some laxative into his milkshake, and heads over to Dean's place.
I love this.
Where
just resorts to the poop joke. Just animation. Taking dumps, whatever, man. Yeah,
and so then they go and they decide to have like a day of fun of sorts. I mean, they see some things like they see like a deer get killed, I think, at this point maybe, and they have to explain death.
Well, and that's not they don't like they don't include that in the day of fun. This is kind of like an awakening for the Iron Giant because he sees what a weapon is, and this is where he does the quote that I did earlier. And as an amateur voice actor, I don't know that I can do it again as well as I just did it, but I'll sit here and reflect on it and think about doing it again later.
They also go to a pond, and they he dives, and that's funny or whatever. And then
dive,
dude. When he dives, the Iron Giant jumps into this lake, and it creates a tsunami from this lake. Completely washes out the whole forest. Fish are swimming through the trees. Dean is just swooshed around in his chair that he's sitting in and lands right in the middle of a road. Almost gets hit by a hog truck.
Arguably displaces a little too much water, if you ask me, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And so... but in the meanwhile, Mansley, he's found his evidence that he needs to convince the general, because he found a Hogarth's camera, and it develops a film and shows that the giant itself is real. And so he convinces the general to bring in the cavalry and find this robot or whatever. And he keeps an eye on Hogarth. They play like cat and mouse game of sorts. Clearly, Hogarth is able to get the one up on him, because the next morning, after falling asleep, Mansley and the Army head over to Dean's, where he's found, Hogarth has told them that's where the robot is, and shows up, and Dean seems totally, oh yeah, you're in the robot, oh interesting, and he makes up this whole long story about how, oh yeah, a rich person's gonna buy it. But it's tough. I'm just keeping it around for a second to say goodbye. And they open the barn, and there is the Iron Giant, but looks like one of his scrapyard art pieces. And he's like, yeah, so that's the giant. And everyone's like, what? And the general is pissed, and basically is like, Mansley, you're going to be fucking cleaning toilets from here on out. And so they head off, and everyone's like,
just like that.
Sweet. Yep. Great time to play. And so, there's Hogarth playing, whatever killer alien robot with his killer alien robot and shooting a pretend gun at him. And it switches on in his brain, his robot brain, defense mode. And his eyes get all red and he's ready to like kill Hogarth. And he shoots these laser beams out of his eyeballs. And Dean's like, holy shit, robot, like that wasn't cool. And the robot freaked out by what he did. And Iron Giant's like totally freaked out. He runs away. He's so sad. Running. And Hogarth's like, no. And he's running after. And Dean, realizing that, it was just a defense thing, says, okay, I'll help you. And they drive off in his motorbike. But before they can get there,
starts snowing out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it is snowing. It is
perfect.
Well, pretty early
motorcycle.
Snow, yeah. So then they, on the way though, like before they can catch up to the giant sees some kids who are up on like a building trying to spy the rumored alien robot. And there he is, but they tumble off the building, and only at the last minute is the Iron Giant able to catch them and save them. And all the townspeople are like, "Oh my God, what an amazing, super great robot! We love him." And Hogarth's like,
"The Russians are coming. The Russians are coming."
Yeah, exactly. It was very, very reminiscent of that. And then Hogarth's like, gets in his hands, but like the army, seeing this giant robot in the town, come back and start shooting rockets at him. And so he immediately starts trying to protect Hogarth and runs away. And using this as a precursor, Mansley's basically like, he killed a kid. We have to, send everything at them. So battleships are firing at him. They got like planes coming after him, everything. And he kind of runs out. The Iron Giant at one point runs off a cliff. And you think, this is, they're both going to die. What a sad movie in a weird way for an animated film to end. But right at the last minute, he gets rockets, and it's like this is a scene that I remember, very clearly from watching it as a kid, which is basically like, you can fly, and like, you can fly, and off they fly like Superman. And he's flying around, but the planes are still going after him, and eventually they shoot him down. And he tumbles around, and the Iron Giant's like sitting there, and he knows about death because of the deer, and he looks and sees Hogarth, and he thinks Hogarth's dead, that he wasn't able to protect him. And becoming sad and enraged, he goes and becomes the full killer robot that he can be, and starts legitimately killing people. He blows up a bunch of shit. Clearly, a bunch of people die as he goes around. And he's heading out towards to destroy the battleships that are firing at him. And the general's like, we have nothing that can stop this thing. And Mansley's like, we got one thing, the atomic bomb, which is kind of where this whole thing was heading. The atomic bomb, we'll aim it at him, and it's the only way we can do it. And General's like, that's a crazy thing, but okay. And so he, they get permission from the president, set it up. The U.S. Nautilus is off the coast, is ready to launch its missile.
And they're like, okay, on my command. Action, baby.
Yeah. So we see the only time there, the whole thing, and the captain's sitting there, and he's like, finally. And we see a little animated censored sign that comes out. And we're like, okay, makes sense. And but they're ready to fire. And so anyways, he's heading out there, and Hogarth comes there and is like, he's not a bad robot. I can't let this happen. And he runs after him and basically is like, stop. You're not a gun. Don't do it. And Iron Giant points his weapon at him and is like, okay, obviously going to vaporize Hogarth. What a sad movie. But then he stops last minute.
Strange animation. Strange turn of the story there.
And his eyes change from red to yellow, and he becomes the good robot again. He's like, oh, what? Basically not knowing what had happened to him.
All right. And he doesn't say
like,
that, Jamie.
He says, what? I'm not a gun.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah, he has to be slower. But and basically he's like, I can be who I want to be, or whatever Hogarth says. You get to choose who you want to be, and he decides to be the good robot. And so they decide. The army basically is like going to stand down, because obviously firing the atomic bomb would be like a crazy thing to do with the robot just kind of sitting there. And what does he do? Does he? Yeah, he doesn't do it. Does the robot do anything else to save anyone? No, he just stops being aggressive, right?
Yeah, he stops, and at this point, Mansley is just like so gung-ho, and he really wants to use the nuke, because there's always a guy in a movie, right, that is like, we got to use the nuke. You got to do it faster. And And so he just like takes the radio and is like, fire the nuke.
Yeah,
And
not a
General's
great.
like, dude, you're an idiot. That's targeted at the robot that's standing like 100 feet ahead of us. Like,
He's like, we're dead. We're gonna die for our
Yeah.
country.
And it
I'm not
launches.
dying for my country, is what he said.
And so, yeah, the missile launches up. They're all preparing to die. Mansley tries to escape, but the Iron Giant's like, fuck that, and stops them. And then he's sitting there, and they're basically like, yeah, it's too bad it's aimed right at you, Iron Giant. There's really nothing you can do about it. And he's like, Iron Giant's like, oh, that's weird. I did watch the third Batman movie. I'm pretty sure I know what to do. And so he says, like, goodbye, I love you. The audience at this point, tears streaming down their face. I can tell you. A little dusty in my room. And if you didn't cry during this scene, you might be the Iron Giant because you have no heart.
Psychopath.
And so he says, I love you. And basically Hogarth's like, I love you. And they embrace in their giant robot boy kind of way with like a tiny finger, like embracing. And then he launches into the air, heads towards the missile, which is like kind of turning around from the outer space, and is like, I'm Superman. And it explodes in a giant fireball. And the Iron Giant dies. And it's exploded into a million pieces.
Yeah, you heard Hogarth's voice that said, you can be anything you want. And that's when he says, I am Superman.
And it goes, dun, 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 dun. And it's the Iron Giant will return in.
Right.
Iron Man.
Iron Man, Iron Giant 2. Remembered.
Yeah. So then they show it's in the spring later, and basically like there's a statue now, and Dean and Hogarth's mom are like totally into each other, and then there's a package that has like one screw, the only screw that's arrived. The explosion, and Hogarth's like, thanks. And then we see him sleeping, and the screw roll and start to assemble. So it's heading out to create the Iron Giant again, and put the pieces back together. And so we know the Iron Giant will be back.
It was in Iceland, right?
Yeah, it's Iceland. The end. And then I feel like there's always been rumors about a potential. No, I guess not. I'm going to try and see if there's ever rumors about a sequel, but I'm not really seeing that.
I think there will be one day.
It'll be a reboot, though.
Did someone say reboot?
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah, Bird said that the sequel was likely never to happen. But he stressed that it was a completely self-contained film, so no need for a sequel.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Should we get into some reviews on this bad boy? This Iron Giant?
Sure.
Who wants to go? Who's got it?
I'll go.
Nobody. Brom, you got it? All right, man. Show us what you got.
I have no idea where you guys are going to come in on this, but I will just jump right in, wade out into these waters alone, and say I loved this movie. I thought it was a great piece of animation. I'm not an animation guy. Typically, it's just, I don't know, a little too mailed in and dumb. And this one sure still had some of its moments. I feel like it was pretty telegraphed where this was going to go, how this was going to end. And I knew what was going to happen with that bolt the moment he received it at the very end there. But you're just going to get that with anything like this. So I can forgive most of that. I was just really surprised by how much I was engaged, though, by this and enjoyed it. I thought had some very funny moments. I thought Christopher McDonald was excellent. The moment I heard his voice, I'm like, oh my God, it's Shooter McGavin. Perfect swarmy villain. Like he played the character perfectly. One of those guys you just love to hate. And I thought Harry Connick Jr. was a fun character. I really liked the Dean Beatnik character. Hogarth wasn't an overly annoying child, which was great. Sometimes they get a little bit too rambunctious. I'm just surprised. I could have swore I thought this movie got bad reception, and I just now saw that it got an 8 on IMDb, which is pleasing to me because I really enjoyed it too, and I thought I was going to come in much higher than IMDb here. I I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Ooh,
Right.
I can come in number 2. My normal spot.
I wanted to beat him.
Sorry, I'm going to come in with an 8. I would have come in even higher if it wasn't for the fact that this lacked a little bit of submarine action. If only the Iron Giant himself was a submarine, perhaps. In which case,
Cool.
I would have fucking loved it. But since it wasn't, I would have probably been a 10 if it was just a regular. How much do I like this movie? I like this movie a lot. I like watching it. I like crying to it. I'm a very emotional movie watcher. I got a little tear going down my face on many movies, and this is one of those. And I just really enjoy it. So top of the line, I do like animation. It reminds me a little bit of Miyazaki stuff in terms of the depth of the story and the nice visuals, something like a Princess Mononoke, which is a little bit more mature, but maybe like a Spirited Away. Kind of similar. If you guys haven't seen those are both excellent and a little bit reminiscent just of the maturity level of the movie still being an animated film. So I don't know. I really, really enjoy it. And so 8, if only it has a submarine or more submarine.
Jamie.
Yeah.
In terms of your top favorite of all time animated films, where does this kind of fall? Range?
Yeah,
I mean, or if you know exactly a number.
No, I'd say like percentile, it's definitely top 10%.
Solid.
Yeah. Like it's top tier. I wouldn't say it's like if I had to make a list of my 5 favorite of all time, would this make the top 5? I don't know, but it is possible if I looked at all the animated films I've seen.
I'm gonna jump in then third. I'm gonna beat you, Kyle.
Ooh, all right. Hey.
That's what you get with that
Not
red
too
shirt.
hard. Not too hard, I hope.
You don't wear red on Thursdays, bro.
Oh, I had a green one, but then I was like,
Green screen.
it's going to be a floating head.
I kind of wish that's what you were going to do.
I know, next time.
So I'm going to hit the repeat button. I'm going to really echo exactly what Ben and Jamie said. I love this movie. I have always loved this movie. I do love animated films. This is not my favorite animated film of all time, but I love watching it as an adult. I remember seeing it as a kid, and it was just like animation, yay! But as an adult, it's just like, whoa, life, death, soul, existentialism. Like, whoa, this is good stuff. And then it looks good. All-star voice cast. Like I was telling Kyle before we even started, I was just like, Vin Diesel? I don't think I ever really realized that until this whole go around. Just funny. But no, it's fantastic. Now I will have to go the same route as Jamie. With this being a submarine podcast, I'm going to have to dock it. Otherwise, I would give this a 9.5 as a movie overall. I can't put it past some of my all-time favorite animated films, but it's top tier for me, top 5 for sure. Submarine, Jamie gave it an 8. Ben, what did you give it?
7.5.
Man, this is a great movie. And even though there was very, 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 very little submarine action, it was significant, impactful, and just a little bit of a tease. I really like the idea of the Iron Giant being a submarine now. But I'm going to give it a 7.9.
Ooh, all right.
7.9.
7.9. I will come in last. Obviously, I have no other option. I hadn't seen this movie in a really long time. I remember enjoying it as a kid, but, again, it was probably just because, like you'd said, Zach, animation. Like, okay, this is so cool. And then as we were talking about before the podcast, you watch this, and there are so many things that are going on that, like, as an adult, you can really appreciate, and just the depth of the message behind it was really cool. I even was watching directors commentary on this, and some of the stuff I guess I didn't even realize with animated movies is Brad Bird was sitting there talking about, he's like, yeah, in this scene right here, we're really playing with lighting a lot. He's like, because I want to just use this flashlight when he's walking in the woods. He's like, a lot of other movies, animated movies, this would just all be lit up. He's like, but I want to make it actually look like we're walking in the woods. So, you're only going to see what this light is showing. And then, Jamie, you'd even mentioned the scene where Mansley shows up and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And they said that scene was, crazy because like it's really good in the movie. It's really good scene, but like for the animated movie, you have to make a background for every single one of those shots, and then you're only using it for like a split second. So it took a lot of work to get that done. I thought the attention to detail in this movie was quite amazing. Voice acting was really good. Really liked everybody. I was shocked at I don't know if Jennifer Aniston's done much voiceover work or anything like that. I thought she did a heck of a job. Harry Connick Jr. Yeah, Harry Keitel. I thought Harry Connick Jr. did a really great job. Everybody. And Shooter McGavin, yeah, he was absolutely excellent. I really would have liked to see more, like we saw, there was like that flash, I don't know what you call it, not really a flashback, whatever, some kind of like PTSD experience with a robot where all of a sudden it was like apocalyptic and there were like hundreds of Iron Giants coming in, just laser beam shooting everywhere. He like saw that in his vision in the night. And I thought perhaps, wouldn't that be cool if another one of them came down and he had to fight it off or whatever, and then still Shooter McGavin was like, well, he didn't see any of that stuff. He didn't see that, so then they still end up destroying the Iron Giant with the nuclear weapon. And
I would have thought that would be potentially the sequel. That the Iron Giant comes back, the town kind of keeps it secret and all that stuff, but then a different robot comes down from the sky.
Well, that was kind of like the original novel, right? That's what I read.
Yeah.
The original novel, the Iron Giant was fighting another machine or a monster or something.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know this was a book, so I guess that's pretty cool.
Hopefully get into it, but that's something I forgot to mention in my review was I think what's so interesting about this movie is almost like behind the scenes stuff. How it is based on a novel. They went back and forth. The studio bungled the entire marketing campaign, and they put more money into the Wild Wild West marketing than they did this movie.
Hey, you got to do it right. You got to say Wiki Wild Wild West. Okay.
Hey, the soundtrack, dude. The Wild Wild West song, though, everybody knows that, right? I mean, that's that.
Yeah. Does anyone know the Iron Giant song?
Don't think so.
I am Iron Man.
Yeah, and there's a lot of history behind, like back when the novel came out, and then the music came out, and then this eventually came out. It's really quite awesome. Yeah. That's why I guess on the 2016 Blu-ray release of this movie, they include that the making of or whatever it is of like all that backstory stuff, but they didn't include that on the 2018 re-release of it.
Oh, really?
Like they took out the documentary portion of it. Weird. It was crazy. Yeah.
Well, my brother, I messaged him. I'm like, hey, you need to like watch this movie again if you haven't watched it. It's good. And he's like, I own it on Blu-ray. And I was like, look at you. Who are you? Like, where? But
did anybody
just text you back? I'm your brother.
Yeah.
Did anybody watch Raised by Wolves? That Ridley Scott show came out on HBO. I'm pretty sure. I started watching. I ended up not being able to make it through it. It started really strong, but I petered out. But it kind of sounds like the story you were saying, like it's like these androids or whatnot, like world destroying androids come and like wipe out humanity as we know it. But a guy is able to repurpose one and like turn a benevolent one, and he like starts civilization on another planet and uses the android to like raise and create a new civilization, and it has to fight off evil ones and whatnot. But
Raised by Wolves?
Yeah.
And it's Ridley.
Maybe
skip it?
I couldn't stick with it. I started it and I was like, this is awesome. Tell everybody, like, we got something new to watch. And then I don't know, it just like lost its steam through like episode 5 or 6. I think I just like, can't finish it. But sounded a little similar to the graphic novel you were referring to. Was it a novel or a graphic novel?
I think just a novel.
Yeah, it's a book.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, just a book. Yep.
Well, that presents a challenge for me. I don't know if I'll be able to read it. Reading knocks me out. I I guess I have experienced some insomnia lately, but maybe I could pick up some books. So also one thing I wanted to notice, and it's like right away in the director's commentary, and it's something that Brad Bird had mentioned, that they were just trying to, like, pulling these scenes together and how difficult it is, especially for the opening scene, because he said, we need to tie together so many things instantly to, like, present the message, or the, what do you call it? I don't know. The situation. I'm losing my words right now. But basically, like, to have Sputnik floating through, in orbit, and then all of a sudden something shoots down, and, like, he was just talking about the complexity of that scene, and then I just really find a deeper appreciation for those types of things. There's a lot of what you guys have said is very true. This is not super sub-centric. Zach, very important points. The sub does play a substantial part in the movie. It is integral to the whole story. I was blown away by this. I didn't remember liking it this much as a kid, but as an adult, I can say you should watch The Iron Giant, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9.
Wow.
Boom!
Even though it's not that sub-centric, I still think it is that good and should be watched.
This is going up on our list, I think, guys. That's
Good. I hope so.
some big numbers for us.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
This
just
is
oh, good.
first movie that's kept my attention in a long time on this series.
This is a great movie.
There was like 17. There was like, it was honestly like 16 or 17. I was up in the high teens of movies that I fell asleep on in a row for this show.
Wow, that's rough.
Came nowhere close with this. Fully engaged.
So my sister's in the chat, and she said she received this movie as a breakup gift.
What?
I need to. Okay. Wait a minute. What the hell's a breakup gift? A gift that the significant other gives you as a, hey, I'm sorry we're broken up, take this?
Yeah,
or is it
I don't
a gift
know,
that
like,
a friend gives you because, oh, I'm sorry you had a breakup. Here's a gift from me, a friend.
Oh, that would make more sense.
I would hope a friend, because it is a movie where it's like you just need a good cry and you'll feel a lot better. So here's Iron Giant.
Or
how I
they're
would see
like,
it.
or there's a note on the movie when they give it to you, says, I hope your life goes just like the Iron Giants. You're like,
And you're like,
wow,
what?
this
I've never
is
seen The
sad.
Iron Giant. I have to watch it. And then an hour and a half later, you're like, it's a beautiful movie, but that's okay. I guess I'm
This is my
perfect.
own sister. I don't even know how I never knew about this. I mean,
Hopefully she didn't get the gift and it just said, dear so-and-so, we're through. Enjoy the movie. Oh, shit.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to, talk to her about this week. See what the heck this is all about. This is exciting stuff.
All right. Do we have Love It or Hate It today?
Oh, we got Love It, Hate It. Boom! Hit it, Kyle.
Yes. I love it. No. I hate it.
Can you get a picture of the Iron Giant to go on the screen while that plays?
Yeah,
You could
let's update the love it or hate it
does.
message to
We'll animate the
have an
face,
image of
and then
Iron
we'll
Giant.
just get a cease and desist from Brad Bird.
Right.
Like,
Almost immediately.
you cannot do that. Like, come on. Just appreciate it. We love this movie.
All right, gang, we got some Love It, Hate It action, but I need to know, what do you want to hear first?
Hate it.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, we all love this movie.
Okay. This comes from my guy, Clay, 17, from August 12th, 1999. An original, dude, back in the year the movie came out.
Dude, back when you're taking like 10 minutes to get on the internet
Yep.
because you're so pissed that you just watched this movie.
Yep. Here we go. Hate it. From Clay-17. I must have seen a different movie. Both of my kids got bored with this movie. Not to mention that I was disappointed that my kids wanted to leave in the middle of the film because I was hoping to catch a quick nap. Whatever. I'm glad everybody else liked it. We left, and got her money back. My kids also couldn't make it to the end of Star Wars 1, so they have some amount of taste.
Episode 1, or are they?
Yeah.
That's the end of it. That's the end.
Oh, man.
Yeesh. I find that hard to
One.
believe, but I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I feel like kids would be wrapped up in this.
But I mean,
big
you
old
think
giant.
it's like too adult?
It's
like
mature. It is mature.
Yeah.
That's why I really liked it. It had mature themes, mature humor. I felt like the animation was very unique, but I feel like kids latch on to things like that all the time.
Giant metal objects with laser beam eyes.
Yeah. It sounds like they didn't make it to that part, but
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't.
Yeah,
have.
they missed it if they left before halfway.
Well, dude, they should have loved it, right? The squirrel in the pants and all that in the diner. They would have loved that.
I mean, the movie's what, 88 minutes? Like,
Yeah, you can't last. Like
they got through what, 30 minutes and like, screw it. We're leaving.
They probably,
Yeah.
You know what? They probably got to the scene about 30 minutes in, I think is when like Hogarth and Mansley go to the diner, but right before all the poop stuff. So they just should have stuck it out for a little bit, and that dad could have got a nap.
I wonder if they ever watched it again, considering this review's 21 years old. So who knows? But fast forward a little bit, let's get to Love It. This comes from A Different Drummer, May 26th, 2017. Great entertainment and a piece of history. Belated review written in 2017. Animation has greatly advanced in the last few decades, but nonetheless, this entry, at the turn of the millennium, is special. It marked the debut of writer-director Brad Bird, now considered a god in the animation studio. The story is so simple, it almost seems unworthy, but in the hands of a master, what you will see is perfection in writing and directing and casting and voice work. Suitable for all ages, will remain a classic for years to come. 10 out of 10.
I mean, it's a lot of what we mentioned here, you know? We didn't call Brad
That
Bird
guy
a god,
loved it.
But
Yeah, that guy loved it.
It's true.
in a piece of history, which is something else.
All right. Are we ready for a little bit of trivia? I'm not gonna dive in. There's a lot of trivia with this. It became a gigantic cult hit. So over time, it's accrued a large amount of trivia. But I do think some of the more interesting things has to do with the conception of the film and then the marketing of the movie as well. And so it is based on a book, The Iron Man, by a poet, Ted Hughes. He wrote it to comfort his children in the wake of Sylvia Plath's suicide, who was their mother, Sylvia Plath. And then in the 1980s, Pete Townsend, he made a concept album based on the book. And it was released as The Iron Man, a musical, in 1989. And so that was the basis for what they were pitching in 1991, was this musical, The Iron Man. And so the idea was kind of almost supposed to be like Tommy, so it's supposed to be kind of a rock opera or whatever kind of thing. But after a certain amount of time, Brad Bird, who was kind of an up-and-comer, they thought it was a perfect thing for him to direct. And at that point, it stopped being a musical anymore. And he kind of took it over. And it was such a small movie in the grand scheme of things. Like as was mentioned, the studio was so wrapped up in other stuff like Wild Wild West and stuff that they kind of left him to their own devices. And there was a lot of like inner turmoil in terms of the making sure the story worked and stuff. It being a Cold War kids film. But otherwise, Warner Bros. Kind of let them do whatever. So I think that really kind of shines through in the end, is that it wasn't tampered with too much in the end. Only some notes that they more or less ignored.
Cricket in the chat brings up a good point because you said that Ted Hughes wrote this as a story to comfort his children. Nothing is more comforting than giving children a massive AI weapon.
True.
To just help them get through it,
Also, a listener asks, Zach, what's your birth sign?
A listener asked that? I missed that.
Yeah, it's not on Twitch.
Oh, my birth sign. My birth sign? Like, are we talking zodiac? Like Taurus?
Yeah. No, yes, there you go.
Taurus. I'm a Taurus.
You're a Taurus? All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what the most famous thing about Iron Giant is just the bungling that happened from Warner Brothers. Basically, after Quest for Camelot come out, their previous animated film, and it was a giant failure. They more or less were like, okay, this isn't going to work or whatever. And they were ignoring it in favor of marketing other stuff. All of a sudden, it came into test screenings and scored the highest scores in 15 years for any movie. And they basically had no idea what they had and didn't know what to do anymore. And so there were a bunch of stuff, like they were supposed to have a toy plan with Burger King, which fell through because they had never even really started it, and all these different things. And they wanted to push the date out. And Brad Bird was basically like, you've had 2 years, I've been working this for 2 years, and you're saying that now you aren't ready to like market it or whatever. And so it was released, and it was this giant failure, like a huge, huge box office failure. Basically, they only needed to break even by earning $8 million or something like that, and for on opening day, and they couldn't manage it.
Really?
So yeah, it was just like this. It's incredibly huge box office failure, and really attributed almost entirely to the studio and nothing to do with the movie or the makers or anything like that. It's kind of a crazy story.
I was gonna say, because you watch this and there's no reason this shouldn't be just a massive hit.
Yeah, you would think. But then, so they basically, as we mentioned, Wild Wild West was kind of what they focused on. They spent all their marketing money on Wild Wild West, and left everything else in the dust, kind of.
Everybody saw Wild Wild West, right? I mean, that was just like...
I remember seeing Wild Wild West in theaters, obviously.
Did you like it, Jamie, when you saw it?
I was a kid. I do remember sometimes, because like I liked everything when I was that age. Yeah. And so it was pretty rare for me to see something and be like, I didn't like that. And I remember there being a couple movies. One was Ang Lee's The Hulk or whatever. And I remember being a little confused by it. But in retrospect, that was wrong. I actually think that movie's pretty good. And I remember seeing Wild Wild West. And I remember as a kid even being like, what is this?
I was the same way. I remember seeing it. I'm like, this isn't good. This isn't Men in Black. Sure, this isn't good.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to throw out one more trivia, which was the other possible voice roles or voice actors for the Iron Giant. Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, James Earl Jones. That makes sense.
Oh.
And then Sean Connery.
Oh,
really? Man. What I want to say, they should re-edit this and make Sean Connery be the voice.
I feel like I know the name Frank Welker too.
Yeah, I don't know. The other ones I didn't totally recognize. Oh yeah, the only other thing to mention is that there's a little Easter egg on Hogarth's dresser is a picture of his father, who was a fighter pilot. I think the implication being that he was killed in the war. I think.
Oh, okay. That was something I was going to bring up because we never got the.
Although that wouldn't make a huge amount of sense time-wise. How old do you think Hogarth is?
I don't think he's over 10.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, we know Frank Welker. He is extremely prolific. 863 voice acting credits.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, and so then we could do Phantoms. And Phantoms is pretty easy because of our boy Vinny D. But let's hit it.
Engage the Phantom.
Phantoms engaged, sir.
So yeah, I mean, Vinny D, obviously Fast and Furious, make some quick connections, make her way through. Interesting also, Cloris Leachman was a voice in this. She voiced the teacher. Kind of odd. I'm not sure if there was supposed to be more scenes with the teacher or something, but kind of a weird role for Cloris Leachman. And she was just mentioned for when I was doing the chain for Magic School Bus. So obviously she's also someone that could be used for that. It is interesting. Ed Harris actually was originally cast. I mean, I mentioned all the other people. I did withhold the fact that Ed Harris was the original voice actor for the Iron Giant. But I mean, I think you can all guess what happened with that. Why do you think that may have fallen through?
Face Off. No, he wasn't a Face Off.
No.
The Truman Show.
No. Brom, do you have an idea for why it may have not worked out for Ed Harris to be in Iron Giant?
Maybe a little over lubricated joints on the Iron Giant. Maybe I don't know.
Oh, the grease.
Close. That was very close. So he insisted actually that he was going to play it live action. So it was going to be a mixture of live action, like Space Jam, but with Ed Harris as the Iron Giant. In the end, which now that I'm thinking about it is pretty amazing, and that's pretty great. I like that picture in my head. But then he showed up on thing. He said, "Iron Giants don't wear clothes," and they were like, "Nope, no."
Yeah,
End of that.
I should have guessed that.
Yeah. And then, do you guys want to do trivia? Or are we running too close on time?
Oh, yeah, we can do
this was
trivia.
this was pretty easy because it's I found this Jeopardy round called Celebrity Film Voices. So you guys can jump in because actually I was able to name all of them. Let's see how many you guys can get. You can even team up if you want to do this. Okay, so Dory and Finding Dory. Dory and Finding Dory. Who voices?
What's the name of the voice actor?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
Ellen
oh my God,
DeGeneres.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Nice. Brom got it. Poe and Kung Fu Panda.
Jack Black.
I got it. Mr. Incredible and The Incredibles.
Hugh Laurie.
Nope.
No,
what
it's
the heck's his name? He's from. Oh, he's
I
from a
talked about
show.
Didn't I cast him on Atlantis?
No, he's an older guy,
didn't?
right?
He's an older guy, yeah.
Older
I can give you guys a
guy.
hint. I think this is the hardest one.
Is the guy who plays Al Bundy?
Nope. So he was in the.
But there's a guy who's like that. He's from Modern Family,
coach.
right?
No, titular coach.
Oh, Landry's dad.
No, he was
No.
coach in the show Coach.
Oh, and he's in Blades of Glory. Ah,
Yeah.
Craig T.
That guy.
Nelson.
Craig T. Nelson, got it.
Oh,
Mr. Fox and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
George Clooney.
Yep. And then Iron Giant in the Iron Giant.
Vin Diesel.
No, good.
Wrong. Ed Harris. They have the original actor in there. I
Oh,
guess.
interesting.
Jeopardy's can always be tricky like that. Alrighty. And that's my part.
Amazing. So Subs Worldwide's a little different tonight because there was a subject here in the movie that I thought was kind of interesting. Something that always fascinated me in college in my philosophy class with this guy, Fred fucking Curry was his name.
FFC.
And it reminded me of the Turing test, and there's all kinds of different things. When do you determine whether artificial intelligence is actually life or when life becomes artificial intelligence, that type of stuff. So I was going to give you guys a few little scenarios and we'll see. I just want to see where you land on whether you consider it no longer like biological life, or does artificial life become biological or something, along those lines. All right. So we'll start out super easy. I break my leg and I get a metal implant in my leg. Am I now a cyborg or am I still a person?
Cyborg.
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 All right, you guys are good. I like this because it's just a metal plate. Sorry, I said implant. So anyways, let's see here. I am kept alive. Only my brain is kept alive, and then I am put into a robot body. Am I still me, or am I a human, or am I a robot at that point?
Robot.
Nah, I think you're you.
I'm me.
You said it's your brain,
Yeah,
right, Kyle?
for sure.
It's just my brain. That's
It's
all that's
you.
left.
That's your consciousness is there.
No, actually, you know what? I'm changing my mind because I'm imagining now going to bowling with who would be Kyle, right? And you just throw a 300, obviously, because you're a fucking robot. And I'm like, you know what? That's not Kyle. That's not the Kyle I knew.
Yeah.
I don't think Kyle could still throw 300.
I think the
Even
gut
with a robot.
reaction would be like, oh, look, Jamie's here with a robot.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but what if he just taped a photo of my face to the vat that's holding my brain?
Right.
Oh,
And then
course.
Kyle's there and they're like, what do you want? And he's like, I'll take a tall blue moon. And everyone's like, oh, actually, it is Kyle. And then he plays Kenny G, and they're like, definitely Kyle.
Dude, yes. Kenny G is my jam every Wednesday at the bowling alley. I play Silhouette by Kenny G. Amazing song. Check it out. The solo. Otherworld.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I really jumped really quickly there from, a broken leg to having my brain implanted in into a robot. But let's say my brain stops working, but then they implant a computer into my head, and then biologically I look the same, but I'm now operated by a computer. Am I still the same, or am I different?
Okay.
Wait,
Elon
someone else is
Musk.
operating you?
No, I'm a computer's operating me, but I look the same, I act the same, do everything. But I no longer have a brain, so it's actually kind of like now.
So I no longer have a brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Am I a computer or am I a person? Because I'm like 99%.
You're a computer.
Your
100%.
computer.
The brain, is it the brain that does it?
Yeah.
And I
But
think
it
it's
doesn't for you, though, Brom.
there's a continuation of consciousness. That's actually why I said originally that the thing. I guess this is where the philosophy comes in, right? Like, would it feel like you just fell asleep and then you woke up and you're like, I'm Kyle, but a computer now is your brain? Is that kind of the theory of what's going on? And then you live forever?
Well, no, because look at me. You think I'm in great shape? This is going to break down at some point, Jamie. Probably by the time I'm like 50 or something.
Yeah, but then the computer could just go into a new thing or whatever.
Any day now.
I mean, you couldn't. That's the thing. I don't. Yeah, I don't think you're Kyle anymore. You're like
no. So is there? What's the scale? Like, when do I stop being a human and when do I start becoming a robot? How much of me has to be replaced? Or is it just the brain? Or is it like my heart and my brain? Or, what's going on here? Whatever. Maybe this is outside the scale of this podcast, but.
No, I think it's actually either your brain in its entirety or just having a small piece of metal put into your leg. And then that's the end. You're a cyborg for sure. Yeah. It's the end of that.
Explains so much. That's why I feel. That's why I feel so connected to machines. Anyways, I don't know what the hell that was.
Would you, if a computer took over your brain, would you be able to learn like crazy? Would you know like Japanese if you're like, now I know Japanese?
Well, yeah, I just have to take a SIM card and shove it up my ass, and then I would know, right?
Then you're definitely not Kyle.
Okay. Zach had this disgusted look on his face.
The Kyle I know would shove a SIM card up his ass.
All right. Well, all right. We're going to move on. We're going to That's true. That's why I'm not allowed to have SIM cards at my house. Anyway.
I'm sure it would end up in an oven, Kyle. Don't worry.
Oh, good. Yeah. Inside jokes for all you on the outside. That could be a podcast. Stories from college. Let's see here. Brom, do you got anything for us?
Of course. Hit me with it. Tube 3 ready to fire, sir.
Commence the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give it to me.
All right. So I tapped into the J archive.
Ooh.
With the category being submersion.
No way.
Yep, got into the J archive for submersion trivia. They did submersion trivia. I think it was actually Alex Trebek's last episode. They had the submersion category. The dollar amounts are $200, $400, $800, $1,600, $3,200, $6,400, and $128.
Wow.
Dude, now, before we even get into this, would you guys just like shit yourselves if this was literally all about our podcast and this was the first time that we had heard about it?
That would be amazing.
Oh yeah.
Would you guys shit yourself if
I wouldn't go into work tomorrow?
But he had a computer for his brain.
Yes.
Would people go for that? You think?
Jamie, I'll be honest with you. I would shit myself for a lot of things.
Right. Sure.
All right. So, Zach, you gave this the lowest score of the three contestants here. So your choice first again, 200, 400, 800, 1,600, 3,200, 6,400, or 12800. These are very difficult, by the way, and they are scaled here.
Give me the hardest one possible.
Really?
12800.
Go for it.
Wow, this is very lucky for you. In episode 83, Danger Beneath the Sea, Zach debuted Love It or Hate It under what working title?
Oh.
Under what working title?
Yep, it was not yet. It was not yet called Love It or Hate It. You had a different name.
Oh my gosh.
Episode 83.
Oh man. before Love It, Hate It. I mean, I literally know the creation of this came from.
Do you remember Jamie and I singing the theme song for you?
From a radio
Jamie
station.
and I sang the theme song. If you can name the theme song, I'd even give you credit.
Name the theme song? Like a real theme song?
Yep, it ended up becoming a bastardization of a very real, very popular song.
Ooh, Love It, Hate It, Love It, Hate It. It had to have been something around. It had to be two spectrums, right? It had to be two extremes.
Yep,
like
two extremes, but it wasn't Love It and Hate It.
It wasn't Love It, Hate It, Love It. I love it. I like it. I don't like it. I dislike it. Like, dislike. No. Man, I don't know. I don't even think I can have a guess.
All right, that's time. Anybody know this?
Yeah.
I do not, and I sang the song. I can actually remember. Did it become the song from Cats?
No, it was
the song from Cats.
It wasn't. It was California by Tupac.
Mm.
But the working title of the segment was 1 or 10.
Wow.
Not
Really
exactly. Not exactly as snappy.
You know what?
As Love It or Hate It.
We should have known that because I feel like it used to be the case that you would say like there were no 1s for this one, there were no 10s for this one.
Yeah, but
even said that this is called 1 or 10.
Really? Wow.
But it just wasn't snappy.
All right, change that theme song, Kyle.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Ben.
1.
All right, Jamie, you gave the next lowest score. You have the board. 200, 400, 800, 16, 32.
Let's go 200. I want to get some points.
In episode 94, Godzilla King of Monsters, Kyle reveals what to be his favorite form of terrorism. Kyle reveals what is his favorite form of terrorism.
I know it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Kyle, I'll let you steal for half
crank,
points.
are we thinking like crank calls?
Nope, that's incorrect.
No, like actual terrorism, Jamie.
Right. That terrifies me.
Kyle, I'll let you steal for half points.
Eco-terrorism.
That is correct.
True.
That is Kyle's favorite form of terrorism. Kyle, you have the board.
Let's go up. I'm not going to do exact.
400.
Give me the 400.
All right. This is a Jamie fun fact. In episode 113, Full Metal Panic, Jamie guesses that Blattle, Reapostor, and Lablaster were the names of the original 3 what?
Oh, I know that. When can I buzz in?
Ghostbusters?
Nope. Zach, I'll let you steal for half.
Pokemon.
Yep.
Oh. Was I even on that episode?
Full Metal Panic? Yeah, that was that was the weird high school one where the agent infiltrated the high school and was really creepy.
Enough said.
But Kyle, anyways, you listen every week on Podcast Republic, so
yeah, big time.
Short-term
memory issues.
Back around to Zach. You got the board.
Dude.
816, 32, or 64?
64.
Ooh.
Oh, you got the other Zach fact. In episode 47, The Meg, during the Zach Facts segment, Zach revealed the name of the Meg to be this biblical-sounding megalodon.
The name of the Meg was this biblical-sounding... I can't even believe I came up with something like a Zachariah. I don't know.
The name of the Meg that was featured in the movie The Meg had this biblical-sounding name.
Can I guess?
I'll let you steal, Jamie, for half.
Methuselah?
No.
Oh, that's really good. It's probably like
Kyle,
Bartholomew or I don't know.
I guess Zachariah. I don't know what I would have put.
It was Mary Megalodon.
Mary Megalodon. That's better. Yeah.
Oh, it is really good.
Jamie, 816.32.
800.
And episode 45. Wow, this is a Jamie fun fact. You guys are getting lucky tonight. Episode 45, The Hunt for Red October. Jamie announces that we have canceled our interview with who?
Oh, is that with the Argentinian Minister of Defense?
Yes, that is exactly it. The Argentinian Defense Minister.
Nice.
He's been canceled. Jamie takes the lead with $800. Kyle, 1,600 or 3,200?
Give me 16.
In episode...
Yeah, give me 16. I already called it.
It's all right. They all start the same way. In episode 117, Depth Charge, the episode concluded with a mash cut in which Jamie and Brom hummed this song. A MASH cut, not a smash cut.
Oh, the theme song to MASH.
It's got a name. though.
I'll give you credit.
I don't know the name.
Suicide is something, right?
Yep.
What's it called? Suicide is
painless.
Yeah, I would have got it. Suicide.
I'll give it to you, Jamie. I'll give it to you. Or,
what the hell?
I'll give it to you.
Split the points. Actually, no, he's already winning. So,
all right, Zach, bring us home with 3,200 in episode 81, Hellcats of the Navy. Kyle vows that upon conclusion of the pod, he will get a tattoo of which submarine film icon?
I mean, was it Ed Harris?
That is incorrect.
Is it Ronald Reagan?
It is not. Kyle, do you know? You vowed to do it.
I did.
Yeah.
Wow.
I vowed that I was going to get a tattoo. Here, maybe this will jog your memory. I said I vow that I will get a tattoo of Teru Shimada when we complete the podcast. And you said I'm going to get
Ernest Borgnine.
That is correct. Kyle, you win.
Borgnine.
I was like,
wow.
Who do I really like in these movies? I'm like, Ernest Borgnine.
The Borgman, of course.
You did it, Kyle. You won, and only fitting that our captain win the Submersion Jeopardy category.
Wow.
Congrats.
It's funny how much we forget. Almost
Ben,
none
did
of
you
those
just
rang a bell.
Did you just like cherry pick those questions, or did you have any rhyme or reason?
I just picked which trivia from my notes.
That's awesome.
Wow.
We'll have to do a whole episode of that.
Good
at some point.
I forgot about that. That's hilarious. Back when I was funny.
It really would be fun to do a whole episode of trivia.
It would be like our version of what do they do in sitcoms all the time?
Oh yeah,
what are they called? There's
clip shows or whatever.
Clip shows, a clip show. Yeah.
That would be funny, where we have some kind of framing mechanism to it, being like, "Oh boy, and that sure was a good time." Yeah. Remember that other episode?
There's like the music that transitions back.
God. All right, is it time, man, for you to bring us home?
Zach Facts, it's Zach Facts. When you're going down, get some Zach Facts when you're going down.
Guesses, boys, guesses.
Feeling 3.
I'm going to go over under 4.5. Zach loved this movie.
I'm going to go under.
I'm going over. We got Shooter McGavin in the house, dude. I'm going over.
I'm going to go over as well.
Okay. So, Zach Facts for the movie The Iron Giant. We got some good facts. We got some not good facts. Fact number 1. Following the release of the movie, Merriam-Webster received thousands of fan letters to add the word iron to the dictionary.
Might be the dumbest one yet.
I like that one. That one just creeps up on you.
Fact number 2. Larry the Cable Guy got famous by telling this joke. What kind of fuel does the Iron Giant run on? Vin Diesel.
Pretty good. Good joke.
I do like that. That one's good. Why Larry the Cable Guy?
I don't know. I thought of some washed up comedian.
Ooh.
Sorry for all you Larry the Cable Guy fans out there, but fact number 3. Everyone's still in it.
That's true.
John Mahoney once said, this was his passion project. Well, cut that. John Mahoney once said his passion project was to dub the entire movie with Kelsey Grammer voicing the Iron Giant. It would go something like this.
Oh my God. God. Oh my God. I feel like a seafront village after the Vikings have left. Don't forget your warm glass of Tang. Don't forget your warm glass of Tang. Don't forget your warm glass of Tang. Don't you dare gloat, you miserable little biscuit whore.
God.
Picture that as the Iron Giant in the movie.
Don't you dare gloat, you biscuit whore.
Biscuit whore. Yeah.
Can you imagine
Kelsey
that,
Grammer.
dude? That's Kelsey Grammer doing that stuff?
All from Frasier. Those are all quotes from Frasier.
My God.
Love Frasier. All right, that was 3 facts. But we got another one.
We got to get 5.
Fact number 4. When Christopher McDonald was asked, "Do you have a nickname for your penis?" he answered, "Yes, the Iron Giant."
Oh.
Oh, I like that.
Fact number 5.
Ah.
Pepsi nearly went under when they started their promotion, Iron Giant in a can, which included tiny screws in the cans.
My God, dude. 90s, though, you couldn't put that out of the realm of possibilities, right?
90 sodas. Yeah.
Uninspired marketing.
Or what was that, 5?
5.
It can't be 6. How many times has Zach had 6 Zach facts?
Dude.
I actually know that answer.
What?
Off the top of your head?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've done it twice.
Well,
You've broke 6 twice.
make that trace. Fact number 6. And the final fact for the night. You are who you choose to be is the official tagline of the 2021 Midwest Fur Fest convention. Boom.
I like that, man. Where's that? You guys want to go to that?
Midwest Fur Fest convention?
Yeah, Midwest Fur Fest.
Go to furfest.org to get more details.
If you guys were going, I would go.
Dude, thanks. This charitable giving. All of you with stimulus checks, you can donate.
Wait, this is real.
Furfest.org.
I'm looking at it right now.
If we got invited to be a panel at Fur Fest, would you guys?
Yes.
Do it?
I'll dress up and I would go.
I don't know.
I feel like maybe like 3 people would attend.
Our panel. I mean, there's probably more. There's probably a lot of people at Fur Fest. It's in Illinois, so
It's a popular thing, like to do like a live like podcast. Usually, it's like the what's the term for like the fictional like narrative podcast, like the stories
screening or something, or live audience.
No, yeah, but I mean, what's the type of the podcast? Like the welcome to
audio drama.
Audio dramas, yeah. Like that's a popular thing. Like at conventions, like is like to do a live
really
telling episode.
Oh
yeah.
no, I mean even non ones. I mean, my favorite movie podcast, they do live ones.
This one, we do live ones. Wow, that's cool.
My other favorite movie podcast.
Oh, your second favorite.
Right. We could sell tickets and everything.
Wow.
Was that your final fact, Zach?
That was it. 6.
Okay. Before we accidentally smash this episode.
Was that the smash cut right there?
Is that a request?
Smash it.
Say it like he would. Smash it.
Say it like a furry.
Smash it. Thank you for listening to Submersion. Don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every Thursday. If you like what you heard, please leave us a rating wherever you listen. Want to interact with us? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also love to get messages from all of you. If you have a suggestion, a comment, or just anything you'd like to share, please email us at macestudios@gmail.com.